guys. Hey. I'm guessing that most of you will have heard of this horrific case. I'm guessing that most of you will have done, but I wanted to talk about this case because I have an interest in family murder, filicide. This is a case of filicide where you kill your children. Filicide is a kind of a catch-all term where you just generally take out your family. But this is horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And I'm going to share my screen here and show you some pictures to start off with, just in case you haven't seen this horrific case. Now I've lost StreamYard. There we go. It's truly evil, Rambling Rome. You're absolutely right. Truly, truly evil. Or very, very messed up. I think this is a case of someone who is very, very unwell. But it's still an act of evil. And I don't know that we'll ever fully understand why these cases happen, other than explaining them as a group of people. Like, I've done a couple of videos about filicide. I did one with Chris Watts as the kind of subject, and then I talked generally about filicide, kind of past Chris Watts's case. And then more recently I did one covering some of the same information, really, after the Alec Murdoch case. And psychologists are very interested in filicide because, how do we stop this? How do we stop somebody becoming so mentally unwell that they feel that they've got no other option than to take out members of their family? And because it doesn't happen that often, I mean, we feel it does because we study these cases. But thankfully, overall, these cases where an entire family or an entire set of kids gets taken out is thankfully not that common. But this one, I think, has just shocked everybody. And it's amazing that this happened on Thursday, so June 15th, another horrific day, this time in Monroe Township in Ohio. But I didn't hear about it on June 15th because I was all encompassed in summer wells, and I heard about it Friday, but didn't really look at it until yesterday. And they've released the body cam. He's had his bond hearing, which was televised. And I want to just play you everything, just go through everything. He has confessed. So whether that confession will stand or whether he'll decide to walk that back, it remains to be seen. But if you don't know this case, let's start at the very beginning. So this man here in the vest is Chad Doerman. I don't know whether it's pronounced Doerman or Doerman. He's 32 years old, lives in Monroe County, Monroe Township, which is, I'll put the map up here, which is Claremont County in Ohio. Very, very rural location. And they live on basically the main road that runs through Monroe Township. It's called Laurel Lindale Road. And I haven't located exactly where their house is yet. If anybody knows the number of their house, do let me know. But there's a fire station, a firehouse, which features in this case, because Chad's stepdaughter escaped. Now, look, I say escaped, but I don't know, honestly, whether he intended to take her out as well. But she ran away, and she ran down Laurel Lindale Road. And I don't know why there's a picture of a dog on the Monroe Township Google. I don't know. I've not put that dog there. But she's 16. Oh, Noodle, you're absolutely wet through. What have you been doing? We've had a thunderstorm here. I put the live scheduler up, and then minutes after, we had a power cut. We had a massive thunderstorm come through. The whole village had a power cut, and I thought I was going to have to cancel this live, but everything's come back. But just to say that if I do disappear, then it's because we've had another power cut. And I may or may not be back, because the power cut we just had did last a while. It was about half an hour before the power came back. So if I just disappear, then I might not be back, and I'll just kind of do this live again, maybe tomorrow. But hopefully, fingers crossed. It has stopped raining now, but I don't know why Noodle's come in absolutely wet through, because Cassie's been out and she's dry. Noodle's come in absolutely wet through, so I think he's been rolling in something, like puddles or something. Anyway, he just jumped up at me and wet me through. All right. So, Chad shot dead, execution style, like literally lined them up, his 3 young sons. And 3 beautiful little boys. Here they are. Now, their names haven't been released. As far as I know, their names haven't been released. Let me know in the chat if they now have. So, 3 years old, 4 years old, and 7 years old. That's all. And he lined them up and he shot them one by one. One of the little boys tried to escape and he ran away, and he ran into a field. Now, it's very rural, so, you know, he just ran. And the houses are spaced quite far apart. You know, this isn't some kind of suburban estate or subdivision. This is very rural. So, you know, the houses are spaced apart. Because when I first heard about it, I was like, why didn't any of the neighbours intervene? But they heard shots, and a lot of the neighbours have spoken out, but they didn't know where they were coming from. So he marched this boy back to the property and shot him. So didn't kind of shoot him while he was on the run, brought him back to shoot him. And the mother of these 3 children was present and trying to fight him. And she ended up getting shot in the hand because she tried to wrestle the gun off him. And I don't know whether, you know, he just discharged the gun, not aiming or what, but she was shot in the hand. So she was fighting him. Can you imagine? And when the cops arrived, she was giving CPR to one of them. Just horrific. Now, the mother, I don't know her name either. I don't know if her name's been released. But imagine what state she's in. Yeah, that poor woman, absolutely. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Can you imagine the first one gets shot? And imagine being the other 2. Imagine that. And the one that ran, imagine that. How scared he must have been. Now, the mother, she had a daughter aged 16 from a previous relationship. And that girl was so brave because she ran towards the firehouse to get help. So 2 911 calls came in, one from the mother and one from a neighbour who was driving along the road and saw this girl running. And the woman who that was, I've got her interview here. Let me just check that it's the right one. So I've got a few up. Yeah, this is the right one. So I'm going to play this. This is on NBC. So she explains what happened. Pre-planned, no mental illness. That's what's been said, yeah? That's what's been said. But also what came out today was Chad's dad has spoken to the media. That's the latest thing that I've seen. And Chad's dad says he snapped. So he had some kind of psychotic break. But what seemed to have been coming out from Chad himself was that he planned this. So we don't know. We don't know as of yet. So I'll play this from NBC. And this is a woman called Misty who saw the young girl, 16 years old, saying that her dad was killing her entire family. Can you imagine the fear that she felt? So brave. Okay, so I'm going to play this. Let me know that you can hear it, because I have had problems with audio. The last couple of times I've been on StreamYard, I have had problems with audio. So just let me know that you can hear it, because I'm going to play it right now. So firstly, can you hear it? And secondly, is there an echo? All right.
In Claremont County, that started around 4:15 when a woman called 911 saying her babies had been shot. Around the same time, Misty Hockey was driving to Kroger and saw a teen girl running for help.
She was running with a little black lab, and she was screaming, "Call 911, call 911." She says, "My stepfather is shooting everyone in my household."
Hockey called 911 as police rushed to the scene on Laurel Lindell Road.
I wanted to get her in the car, but she just refused to leave her family. And that just says testament of how much she loved them.
Responding officers found 4 people shot outside the home. Life-saving measures were unsuccessful on 3 young boys, brothers, aged 3, 4, and 7. Their mother, a 34-year-old woman, was shot in the hand and taken to UC Medical Center. Investigators say the boy's 32-year-old father, Chad Doerman, was sitting on a step outside the home and was immediately detained by police. He's now charged with murder. As for the bystander who alerted police,
if I was just cruising down with the radio, blasting, I could have missed it all. Just everyone be vigilant. That's all I can say. I was vigilant today.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top.
Yeah, so Misty Hawkey was the second 911 caller. And I'm going to play the body cam because they've released all the body cam, which is really interesting that they've done this very early on in the case. But I guess as he's confessed, they're not going to give him a chance to kind of roll it back, if you will. Do they have the death penalty in Ohio? Do they? Hopefully. Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. You know my thoughts on this. Filicide or familicide. This technically is filicide. So where you shoot your children, where you murder your children, one or more children, it's filicide. Familicide is the catch-all. So filicide is a form of familicide, but familicide tends to be used when you kill your entire family or the majority of your family, like different generations. So like Alec Murdoch, for example, shot his wife and his son. Chris Watts killed his wife and his children. So that's familicide. But technically speaking, filicide is where you kill your children. And he was the father. He was the biological father of those 3 boys. And they even look like him. They even look like him. Let me show you the pictures again. So this is him. And then that's him on the ground. His bond's been set $20 million. Have you ever seen a bond so high? You don't get it very often, but we're going to listen to the bond hearing. And those are the three boys. They just look like him. They all look the same, don't they? They look just like cheeky little brothers there. Proper little boys, but honestly, seriously. And that's him with one of the boys teaching him fishing. And apparently, I haven't looked, but apparently, just in the last few days, he's been posting pictures of these boys up on Facebook. Yeah, he's the biological father. The girl, the 16-year-old girl, isn't biologically his. She is the mum's from a previous relationship. I think they should give him the death penalty by firing squad, seeing as he's a fan of lining people up, firing squad style. And I think they should start at his ankles and shoot upwards, so that he experiences some pain before he dies. But that's just me. That's just me. But this is just evil. This is just sick. Sick. Noodle, why are you absolutely drenched? He's come back even more drenched than he was before. Have you been enjoying yourself, Noodle, outside? Because you're absolutely wet through. While we're on this news piece here, before I play the body cam and the bond hearing, let's read this. This came out today. This is the most recent thing that I've seen. Oh, actually, it came out yesterday, but I saw it today. So this is the most recent stuff I could find. So Chad Doerman, the 32-year-old Ohio father, arrested Thursday after gunning down his three sons, just snapped, his father told the New York Post. Keith Doerman, 59, who lives in Port Richey, Florida, with his wife, Gloria, said they're both still trying to comprehend how Chad could have murdered his own children, but added, "We have no answers. He just snapped," he told them. There was something going on in his life that he couldn't handle no more. I can't talk to him. They aren't letting me talk to him, so I don't have any answers. He probably hid a lot of stuff from me. So they talk about the police body cam. The cops were, I don't know how those cops maintain composure, quite frankly. I don't know how those cops, armed with rifles, I don't know how they didn't fire, honestly. If I'd been one of those cops, that would have been my last day as a cop, because I don't think I could have stopped myself, honestly. Because when they got there, the boys were laid out, either dead or close to being dead. Like I said, the mother was giving one of them CPR. And them finding him just sitting there as calm as anything, saying that everything was fine. I don't know how one of them just didn't put a bullet in the back of his head, honestly. I really don't. I'm glad they didn't, to be fair, because I want to know why he did this. I want to know why he did this. Why didn't he just shoot himself? Yeah. I mean, a lot of cases of family murders, they do. It's a murder-suicide. So they take out their entire family, then they take themselves out as well. But I think it's probably maybe 50-50. I don't know the exact stats on this, but I think it's probably about 50-50. Like half the time they'll take themselves out. So it's just a complete family annihilation. And then the other half, they don't. And they've no intention of. Like Chris Watts, no intention of killing himself because he just wanted a new life. Who else could we talk about? what's his face? Anthony Tote. Oh, Anthony Tote. Even killed the dog. Even killed the dog. His wife, his 3 kids, and his little dog. And he was in financial rack and ruin. And he told cops that he wanted to take himself out, and he tried to take himself out taking Benadryl, but I don't think he really wanted to. That's a horrific case, because he lived with the dead bodies for 2 weeks. Like, I don't know why everybody knows Chris Watts and then hardly anybody knows Anthony Tote, because in my opinion, Anthony Tote's is more horrific than that of Chris Watts. I mean, Chris Watts is horrific, don't get me wrong, but living with the dead bodies for 2 weeks, I mean, that is mentally, very mentally deranged, at least from that period of time. But pled not guilty, made statements that weren't quite a confession, but kind of, and then pled not guilty. So that's why I'm wondering whether this Chad guy is going to try and walk it back in somewhere. I don't know how he can. Yeah, Benadryl, trying to kill himself with Benadryl. You have a nice sleep, make you a bit drowsy, but how much Benadryl do you have to take to kill yourself? Scott Peterson, yeah, Scott Peterson. Chris Coleman. Matthew Coleman. That's a case that I don't think anybody really talked about at the time. I made one video on it. But anyway. So, Doerman later alleged confessing to lining up his 3 sons and executing them with a rifle at their home as his terrified daughter Alexis fled, screaming he was killing everyone. So, Keith Doerman said he had only visited Chad last week. He seemed fine. He was a jokester and a fun-loving guy. Aren't they always, though? You know, you tend to get this where family members say, I had no clue, I had no idea, and, you know, he's living a double life or something like that. Doerman insisted that Chad had no history of mental illness or strange behaviour or a criminal record. However, the Cincinnati Enquirer reported on Friday that Chad once choked his father. So the dad who's saying that this guy has got no criminal record and no mental illness, he himself allegedly had been attacked by Chad in 2010. The case was dismissed, apparently, after the alleged victim, so Keith, failed to appear as a prosecution witness. The elder Doerman was 46 at the time the charges were filed in July 2010. Chad pled not guilty to domestic violence. The case was dismissed on August 26th of that year. That's not true, said Keith. So he's saying that the court records aren't true. The story was wrong and the judge dismissed the case. So listen. If a court report says that this guy has been accused of DV, how have they got the story wrong? And the judge only dismissed the case because he failed to show up to court. And this is key. So I don't know whether he's just kind of sticking up for Chad or he's just really confused and doesn't know what to say. I mean, come on. You know, his son has done this to his 3 grandsons. I mean, how can you get your head around that? So I do have, you know, I'm going to give him some time. I'm going to give him some sympathy at the moment here. But clearly has a temper. So he said he didn't want to elaborate further and began crying. I can't think right now, he said, and hung up the phone. 5 days ago, Chad apparently changed his Facebook profile picture and posted a photo of his 3 young blonde sons. He posted several photos of the boys on his page, including one of him showing one boy how to fish. So these are the pictures that are in this article. I mean, look at them. However bad your life is, I mean, the reasons why people do this, a lot of cases, it's the root of it is financial. That they can't, like Anthony taught, that they can't handle being in financial ruin, and they can't face their family being in financial ruin, and they believe that the only course of action is to get rid of everyone. Another major reason is where children are taken out, but not the spouse, is that the spouse is, you know, the relationship's bad, and the killer fears that the spouse is going to take the kids away. So it's an act of spite, basically. You know, if I can't be with them, then no one's going to be with them. And I'm wondering whether it's something like that in this case. So I'm wondering whether the relationship had gone sour, and maybe she'd said that she was going to get custody of the boys, and he flipped. And, you know, he decided that he wasn't going to let her take custody, and he was going to, you know, it was payback against her. That's my theory at the moment, but I want to know from Chad. I want to hear what Chad has got to say. So hopefully we find out some information from Chad. All right, let's look at this body cam. Now, there's been a few of these body cams released, but some of them, this one, I want to play this one first, because this you can hear the dispatch in the background talking as the cop is driving. So let's play this one first. I've got my sound on it. The body cam sound will kick in a minute when body cams are switched on. There we go. Just let me know if you can still hear me over the top of this. You should be able to. Yeah, I love body cams as well. I do. I love body cams. But you can hear, just periodically, you can hear the dispatch, and you can
638 flyers.
You can get a sense of how
like
fast he's driving.
Somewhere in the area, right?
Oh, you can hear me. Good.
Getting a call now from Misty advising that her grandfather told her that a female said that her grandfather was killing everyone in the house, and that the female went to the fire station. Right.
So initially the dispatch got the story that it was the girl's grandfather, but it wasn't. It was her stepfather. And they do rectify that later. So by the time he's got to the house, the story's correct.
Robert C3, how many houses down from the firehouse is this?
Yeah, interrogation footage is great as well, yeah. I like that. The cops would be uncool with that dog. I think they had more to worry about than a dog barking at them, honestly. There was a Labrador that the girl had took with her, the 16-year-old. She'd taken the dog with her. A black Labrador who was barking at the
About 5, 6 out.
So 5 to 6 minutes out, I think it was.
Strong like Liddell Nicholsville.
But he's flying. You can just hear the engine. Can't really hear me. You just got a 3-minute commercial. what they started doing like in the middle of the live stream.
Just so everyone's aware, somewhere in the mix, there's a 16-year-old female that ran from the original house that was going to the firehouse for help. Not sure where she's at now.
63. Okay, do we have a description on the male?
She's, well, she was talking
Negative.
to
This was called out
Misty.
that the shooting was occurred by the fire
That's right,
station.
yeah.
They all are back inside of the firehouse.
There's a little bit of confusion here about where the girl is, what the fire station's got to do with it. There's confusion, but they're just flying to it, and a bunch of armed cops turn up.
Traffic, your digital. Get the fire.
She was very brave, yeah. She was very brave.
Video is still digital, but the fire department is who told us that shots were fired.
That's why I wanted to play the dispatch, because the first reports that came out, or the first reports that come out of any case, you have to take with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because you know the situation's rapidly developing, and you know one person may have the facts, but they're not being communicated quite right yet, and you know the different agencies need to coordinate. So I think it's interesting just hearing the little bits we can hear.
63 72. Do you have traffic?
But when they get there, they are very good. They are very good. They don't take any shit at all from him.
Shot, not breathing.
Someone's shot, not breathing. Yeah, I think that's true down under with love, that we're more aware the internet makes it more widely publicised. Yeah, I mean, thankfully these kind of situations are rare. We think they're more common than they are because we study this stuff. And I have a particular interest in family murder because it's the motives. It goes against every instinct, doesn't it? From like a parent to kill their children in a way like this, but yet he very purposefully.
It sounds like the male's still on the porch. There are multiple children in the yard, non-breathers.
So male on the porch, multiple children, not breathing. But yet we hear so many child abuse cases. Some of them ultimately result in the child's death. But cases like this, where it appears to be just a normal family, and then something like this happens, has its own special place in hell, but has its own special place in psychology as well, because it just goes against everything that we believe about parents. And then we've got to understand the motives, because if you understand the motives, then maybe, we can intervene sooner. But if there's no red flags, right, this guy had no criminal record, apart from that accusation in 2010 that was dismissed against DV from his dad being the victim, but dismissed because his dad didn't show up. All he had on his record was traffic violations, like speeding and things like that. Nothing, no violent crime, nothing. And no mental health history, as far as we know.
Is advising them that the male shot the entire family.
So male shot the entire family. Which he did, but the spouse was shot in the hand rather than shot to death. And I think that possibly was the weapon discharging as she was fighting him. Possibly. Right, they're here. Let's concentrate on this now. This is some good police work here.
Get him right here. You got him on the porch.
We've asked. That's the last place we've been told.
You show me your hands now. Stand up and walk towards us. Stand up now. Walk towards us. Stand up with your hands up.
We got a visual in the mail. Not showing his hands, not following commands.
Stand up now.
Not showing hands or following commands. His name is Chad Doerman. Chad Doerman.
I know, but we can't.
People need first aid, and he's not complying. If you know he's a shooter, shoot him.
You gotta find cover first. We ain't no good if we ain't.
Did you hear that?
So
That if they need to, just shoot him.
hey, no. We need to come from this side where we can see him. Don't take cover behind her. We see him. We're going to approach from this side. We got cover.
There's not much cover to be
Right
fair.
here.
6 cover, 29 and 63 attack that.
Exactly, serious restraint. Yeah, this would have been.
Show us your fucking hands now. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up. Stand up now. Stand up. Stand the fuck up.
EMS to stage and air carrier to go ahead and fly whenever any units can advise.
Get your hands up here.
Daniel just wanted to beat the living shit out of him at that point.
It's in there.
Pardon my language.
There's people that need first aid, and that's the shooter. He's not complying. They need to take care of the
I got it.
victims. They have to shoot him and shoot him.
Man, I ain't trying to hurt nobody. I'm completely sober. Never did drugs.
Yeah, just sit there and wait to
EMS over
hear
here.
what it says in a minute.
But I don't do drugs now. I'm sober. I'm not trying to fight you.
And you can hear the
Get
mother screaming.
your butt inside. Yellen, get your butt inside.
We on primary?
Now.
And that's Chad shouting at the dog to get inside.
3 kids down, 16.
Yellen.
63, we're 21. Have EMS respond over here.
You're clear, they're being advised.
That poor woman. That poor woman. She's tried to give the boy CPR there.
63, do you want them to respond to the Laurel Lindale address? Where exactly do you need them?
We're right in the front yard.
Taking my life from me, she says.
What are you doing, man?
Hey, are you copying all this?
Can I roll over? I ain't gonna hurt you.
I'm not
I
going to
ain't gonna
hurt you.
hurt
You
nobody.
got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it.
I ain't going to hurt nobody, you said.
I ain't mad. I ain't nothing.
I ain't going to hurt nobody.
Just make sure that dog don't come out. I
What
don't
about
think
your
he'll bite you.
three
Just don't reach
sons?
for him and try to
What
grab him
about
and
your
pet
three
him.
sons? Did you hurt them? Yes.
What's going on, man?
Nothing. Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm going to
I
get
ain't
you
gonna
here
do
in a
nothing. I ain't running
second.
away. You can do whatever you want.
What's going on, man? Nothing. What's going on, man? Nothing. Hot. They're blocking out one of the boys' body, and her lying on the sitting on the floor trying to resuscitate him.
Here. You the only one else inside the house?
What?
You the only one else inside the house?
Yeah.
Sit down right here.
My daughter, she ran over to the fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in the cage.
I'll be putting him in the ground, not in the cage. Right, so there's another one where it shows you them walking him to the car. Sorry about that. I just booted myself off. I just booted myself off. All right, there's another one. Here. Hold on. I need to reshare now. That's a little clown. Booted myself off. All right, is this the one? Yeah, this is the one. So this is walking to the car. And one of the cops tells him to exercise his right to silence. It's proper snarky. All right, let's watch this.
Where's he at?
on the porch.
So it starts off the.
Stand up!
63, do you want them to respond to the Laurel Lindale address?
Yeah, this is. We'll play it from here.
We're right in the front yard.
So take him all the way to the car on this one. Heartbreaking. Taking my life from me. Which leads me to believe.
What are you doing, man?
That's what he told her. That I'm going to take them all from
I ain't gonna
you.
hurt you. I ain't gonna hurt nobody.
You got anything on you?
No, I ain't got nothing, man. Phone, that's it.
Thank you, Lynn.
I'm mad. I ain't nothing.
$10. That's very kind of you.
Just make sure that dog don't come out. I don't think he'll bite you. Just don't reach for him and try to grab him and pet him. He won't bite you.
Is it nature or
What's
nurture?
going on, man?
Can I stand up? It's kind of uncomfortable.
I'm
I
gonna
ain't gonna do nothing. I ain't running away.
Sure.
You can do whatever you want.
But I would say mainly nurture. In most cases. Nothing's going on. Nothing's going on. You're perfectly fine. You've only just shot your 3 little boys, but everything's cool. But yeah, just the things she's saying that you've taken my life from me.
You the only one else
think
inside
they
the
had
house?
an argument,
What?
and
You the only
he's
one else
told her
inside the
that
house?
he's gonna take
right here. My daughter, she
them
ran
all
over to
from
the
her.
fire department.
Sit down.
It's my stepdaughter.
Put him in the cage.
This is look.
Wonder if he was a licensed gun owner.
This is look.
We don't know. We don't know those details yet. But there'd be no reason why he couldn't have a weapon, because he's got no history of violence or anything like that.
Can you get the wallet out of my back pocket?
Shut up, dude.
In the
Yeah, the right to remain silent and fucking use it.
I love that. That's the best bit. So he said, "Can I get my wallet out of my pocket?" And he went, "Shut up. You have the right to remain silent. Fucking use it." Oh dear. They are so restrained, these cops. This is good police work, because they kept control of themselves as well as the situation. So in my opinion, these cops should be commended. We see a lot of really bad police work on these body cams, but this, I think they did well here. They got him. They got him
The firehouse is advising them that the male
so this
shot the
goes
entire
through
family.
the different angles of the different cops' body cams. Like Law and Crime Network just put it all together. Oh, it's only another 3 minutes, so we might as well play this to the end.
Here.
Just a different angle, different cops' body cam.
We've asked, that's the last place we've been told.
You show me your hands now! Stand up and walk to me! Walk towards us! Stand up now! Walk towards us! Stand up with your hands up!
Exactly.
29, we got a visual on the mail.
Exactly.
Not showing us.
Like we always forget, these guys
now!
Not showing hands or
have had to deal with this guy,
gotta
knowing
go.
full
They
well
just Chad Doerman,
he's just
Chad
shot,
Doerman.
shot 3 little boys. These
We
cops
gotta
will
go.
have
He
children.
needs first aid and he's not complying. And he's a
If
shooter.
they don't have children, they might have nieces and nephews.
Gotta find cover first.
I'm trying.
Good if we ain't safe ourselves.
Where is EMS to tend to the boys? They arrived shortly after. I think these guys got there very, very quickly. Like watching that guy driving, his car was doing some. So I just think they got there very quickly. And EMS were behind them.
We gotta go.
But honestly, these 3 boys, they were executed. I don't think that they would have been saved if EMS had got there more quickly. I mean, I don't know. We have to wait for the autopsy, but I think, two
Show me your hands now!
little boys under the age of
Stand
5 and then
up!
one
Stand
7-year-old.
Moving. Hold it.
How many bullets is it going to take
Stand up
to kill
now!
them execution style?
Stand up!
Not many.
Stand up!
EMS has staged an air just going to go ahead and apply whenever you need this peanut butter.
Get your hands out here.
72.
Come on, 21. It's in there.
If you confirm that there's people that need first aid, and that's the shooter, he's not complying, they need to take care of the
I got
victim. They have to treat him.
And at the end there, like they were saying, if he's not complying, just shoot him. Oh dear. Dear. Yeah, me too. I don't know how they're gonna. I hope they get some very, very good therapy and they're able to rebuild their lives. I don't know how they're going to do that. That's just dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. And then at the bond hearing, I know some of you will have seen it, but it's only short. I think it's only about 8 minutes. We're going to play the bond hearing. When did this happen? This happened on Thursday. So 3 days ago. 3 days ago. June 15th. Yeah, I'd forgotten that it's Father's Day, honestly. Quite frankly, I had forgotten. But yeah. I mean, is that relevant to his thinking? I don't know. I don't know if it is relevant to his thinking. No, you're not blocked. I can see you. You're not blocked. You're not seeing any of it. Well, Chad Doerman, 32 years old, from Monroe Township in Ohio, on Thursday afternoon, shot his 3 sons, biological sons, not his stepchildren, biological sons aged 3, 4, and 7. His 16-year-old stepdaughter ran for help. So brave, she ran away, got help. The mother of the children tried to fight him, got shot in the hand, trying to wrestle the gun off him, tried to give at least one of the boys CPR whilst waiting for the police to arrive. And you can hear her on the body cam, like screaming. And he just says, the cop says, what's going on? He's like, nothing, I'm not going to hurt you. Nothing, I'm not going to hurt anybody. Just awful. No motive released. I know. I mean, that's it's up to Chad to talk. It's up to Chad to talk. I can only talk generally about these family murder cases. Some of them, it turns out it's financial, and there's some kind of mental illness underlying this financial hardship or financial strain, or being rich and then losing your money, like Anthony Tote did, or it's just wanting to get rid of your family because you want to start a new life, like Chris Watts did. And sometimes it's revenge against the other parent. And I'm wondering whether it's that in this case, because he could have shot the boy's mother, but he didn't. I mean, he shot her in the hand, but I'm kind of thinking at the moment that the weapon discharged during the altercation of her trying to get the weapon off him. But he could have shot her. He could also have chased down the stepdaughter. Rather than just sitting there, he was sat on his porch, waiting for the cops to arrive, just sat on his porch. So it was very targeted, in my opinion. He could literally have taken out certainly the mother and possibly the stepdaughter before the cops arrived, but he chose not to. He chose to sit on his porch. Firing squad, yeah. Do I know anything about his previous charges? There aren't any. There was, I talked about this a little earlier. There was one accusation in 2010 of domestic violence against his father. his father has spoken out in the media and said that they've got the story wrong, but it's in court documents that Chad had tried to choke out his father, and the father, however, didn't turn up for court as a prosecution witness. Therefore, the case was dismissed. And there is no other charges on his record other than some traffic violations, things like speeding, stuff like that. Nothing. Clean record. So I don't know what to tell you on that one. Right, let's play the bond hearing. Right, let's choose any one of these. Who's going to have a good audio? Let's just try one, and if the audio's bad, we'll try another. Law and Crime Network tend to get good audio.
News.
That breaking news out of Claremont County.
Where's he at?
Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Let's try this one.
State of Office Chad Doerman, 2023 CRA 1975. This matter is before the court today for purposes of bond hearing. Mr. Callum, you were here on behalf of Mr. Doerman. Mr. DeCalvi, Mr. Gass on behalf of the state of Ohio. Mr. Callum as the bond.
So this is Friday. So the shootings happened on Thursday. So this is now Friday. If the audio is low, let me know, because I'll try and find a better stream. It's just the different news channels have got different microphones in court, so some of them are good and some of them are not.
As bond, Your Honor, he is 32 years old. He lives in Richmond, married, is employed. He indicates that his relatives, Gloria Doerman, Todd Frost.
That's really low, isn't it? I've got AirPods in, and it's really low for me. I'll try and find a better one. Let's try this one.
This matter is before the court today for purposes of bond hearing. Mr. Callum.
Oh yeah, that's better for me. That's better for me. So this is from the Cincinnati Enquirer.
You were here on behalf of Mr. Doerman, Mr. DeCalvi, Mr. Gass on behalf of the state of Ohio. Mr. Callum as the bond. Go ahead, sir.
As the bond, Your Honor, he is 32 years old. He lives in Richmond, married, is employed. He indicates that his relatives, Gloria Doerman, Todd Frost, and Teeth Doerman, may act as co-signers for him. At this time, Your Honor, we would submit to the court that a bond of $75,000 worth of order conditions would be appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. DeCalvi.
Judge Mark DeCalvi, Claremont County Prosecutor on behalf of the state. At this point, I'm going to let Mr. Gast handle the bond on our behalf. Thank you.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning.
Judge, we've got law enforcement with us here today. Our office has been involved. Lots of people from our office have been involved with law enforcement throughout yesterday, afternoon, evening, all the way through this morning. And the facts I have for you at this point are as follows. The trauma that this man has inflicted on his family, the community, law enforcement, first responders, and all of the rest of us who have any idea what's going on here is unspeakable. There's been a full admission in this case, Judge. The case is still new. We're still discovering facts. But the evil horror of what we know is impossible to process. In an act of just incomprehensible cruelty, the father that stands before you lined up his 3 young boys, and he executed them in his own home with a rifle. They were ages 3, 4, and 7, Judge. In an act of desperation to save her children, the mother at some point grabbed the gun that father was wielding, to attempt to protect them. We know that one of the boys was able to flee into a field near the home. And again, we know from his admission, father hunted that boy down, drug him back to the property, and executed him in front of witnesses. The mother was shot through the hand in her attempt to protect her children. Judge, I asked the court in setting this bond to just begin to imagine their fear. This was the man that every day they woke up looking to for protection, love, guidance in all things. Man they trust more than any other person on earth. Person they rely upon to keep them safe from harm. He was their world. He was their guardian. And he executed them in cold blood. We know that from his admission. By that same admission, Judge, he has committed one of the most monstrous, craven, cowardly acts it will ever be our misfortune to see. To make things even more disturbing, Judge, this was no haphazard act. Again, by his own admission, he planned the events of this day. This did not happen on a whim. He's confessed to what I believe is the worst crime, at least I hope, that I'll see in my lifetime. I hope it's the worst fact pattern that ever comes before this court. Judge, it's important for the court to know, in the bond we're going to request today, for the court to understand Claremont County deputies, Monroe Township Fire and EMS, and other first responders bravely respond to the scene where they don't know what's going on. They did not know what they're facing, and they come into a scene that no one can ever be prepared for. No law enforcement training, no training of any kind prepares you for this. It's easy to forget that these are men and women with families, children, feelings, emotions. They're not some automaton performing a delegated function. They're people. They were required to give CPR to gunshot children, 3, 4, and 7-year-old children. They held these boys in their arms, knowing there was nothing they could do to save them. How long do those scars last? What day do you wake up from that and you're healed? How do you unsee such an abomination? The bond factors this court needs to consider today are set forth in Criminal Rule 46, nature and circumstance of the crime charged, and specifically whether the defendant used or had access to a weapon, including the seriousness of the offense. It's the most serious offense that we have on the books, Judge. This is it. You can't commit a more serious offense. So the nature of the crime charge is the worst crime that can be charged. Did he have access to a weapon? Yes, obviously he did. The weight of the evidence against the defendant at this point, Judge, we stand here with a full admission of the defendant. That also goes to the confirmation of the defendant's identity, and witnesses on scene did see at least part of what happened. Next, the court is to consider the likelihood this person would return to court if a bond were issued. Again, this is the most heinous crime with the most severe penalty under the law that we presented to the grand jury. That alone would be a major factor in discouraging a person from availing themselves to this court or any other. And the thought to flee and the likelihood of flight is great in the state's opinion. The danger he poses to the community is a factor that this court can consider. And I think with the facts in front of you, Judge, we can't name a person that poses a greater threat to the community. As his prior record goes, Judge, it is fairly minimal. He was charged with a domestic violence in 2010. He is not, to my knowledge, on probation or community control. Judge, the facts of this case are hopefully like no other we will ever see. When this case gets indicted in the Court of Common Pleas, I am certain that a no bond hearing will be held, and I would hope that would be granted. But at this point, this juncture, we're going to ask this court to issue a bond we've never asked for before. I'm going to ask for a bond of $20 million. And I hope I never need to request such a bond again.
Thank you. Date for preliminary hearing?
The date for the preliminary hearing, Judge, is 6/26.
No objection, Your Honor.
The preliminary hearing will be set for June 26th at 1 p.m. At this point in time, bond's going to be set in the amount of $20 million cash or surety. Anything else at this time, Mr. Gast?
No, Judge.
Mr. Kelm? Mr. Kelm, anything further?
Nothing at this time.
All right, thank you.
All rise.
I don't know what he says at the end there, but I'm going to try and find. It's the one that doesn't have the good audio. But I think I just want to. There's one that I saw that they zoom right in on his face, because I got the picture of him crying on the thumbnail. I got it from that. So just let me find the other one, whether it's this one. Hold on. Look at him. And he pulls this really stupid face.
Cowardly acts that will ever be our misfortune to see. To make things even more disturbing, Judge, this was no haphazard act. Again, by his own admission, he planned the events of this day. This did not happen on a whim. He's confessed to what I believe is the worst crime, at least I hope, that I'll see in my lifetime.
Dear me. Oh, dear me. Cry me a river. Cry me a river.
Judge.
Cry me a river.
It's important for the court to know in the bond we're going to request today.
Can't even look at him. I know. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah, so the photographer for, what's that, Local 12, decided to zoom in on his eyes, his tearful puppy dog eyes, and his scrunched up, oh, I'm so sorry face. Force those tears out, yeah. Oh, just send him out. Just don't waste your money on him, the state of Ohio. Just take him out into the prison yard and let him face a firing squad, because he is very keen on firing squads, because that's how he ended the life of his 3 sons. So let's just remind ourselves of those 3 sons. There they are, age 3, 4, and 7. There he is with one of them, teaching him to fish. There they are, having a whale of a time. Some kind of monster truck. Look at them. I mean, how? How in the world? How in the world? They're adorable. They are. They are. I'd much rather end this live stream with a picture of those little boys on screen than him sniveling and scrunching his face up and doing the good old act of I'm sorry, please have lenience on me, Judge. But a bond set of $20 million. Preliminary hearing is next Monday, the 6th. So this should go, 26th, sorry. This should go through pretty quickly. If he's given a full confession, there's witnesses. Certainly the boy's mother is there as a witness. The stepdaughter is there as a witness. There's a bunch of neighbours who, I don't think they saw anything, but certainly heard stuff. So this should be a quick process, I think. Yeah, I mean, he could walk it back and say his wife made him do it. He could start walking it back, but yeah. So let's wait for the next court date. Hopefully that will be televised as well. So that'll be 1 p.m. Ohio time, which I don't know what that is my time. The highest bond in the state, yeah. I don't think I've heard a bond that high before. It should go through the courts quickly. If he, you know, says he just pleads no contest and just wants to get it done. Like Chris Watts. You know, the Watts case, the Shanann, Bella and Cece and little baby Nico were murdered on the 13th of August and his sentencing was in November. So it went through pretty quickly. That's obviously the state of Colorado. But, you know, Chris just confessed, pled no contest, and that was it. But I honestly think, and the other thing that occurred to me while I was listening to the prosecutor there, the fact that he could have chased the little boy that ran away. He chased him down and brought him back to the property. If he just wanted to shoot him, you know, just kill him, he could have shot him as he was running away. But he brought him back to the property, and I'm wondering whether that was so his mother could witness it. Because he could have shot her, he could have shot the stepdaughter, he could have shot the dog, but he chose not to. He sat and waited for the police. Like his mission was done at that point. So obviously it's very early days. We don't know what he's going to say about his motive. If he ever says anything. So we'll just wait and see. But that's my theory at the moment. That's my theory at the moment, that this was wasn't against the boys. They were just pawns in this sick game he was playing with the boy's mother. That there was bad blood between them, and he wanted to get back at her. It was some kind of payback or something against her. Absolutely horrific. Horrific. And that explains why he's had no previous charges, nothing at all major on his record. But we can speculate, we can talk about this case and this case and this case, but I don't think we'll ever fully be able to recognize when someone is going to do this. I mean, what warning signs are there when it's somebody of previously good character, somebody with no mental illness, with children that are clearly very looked after, is employed. There's nothing that would give you a red flag about him. Not on the surface, anyway. Not on the surface. So, don't know. Lovely rural little town there. Really nice life. And he goes and does this. Hopefully we learn more. Hopefully we hear from him why he did it. There's no way to predict it. There isn't. You know, there's some cases where, you know, we blame CPS, child services. that a child's being abused and they turn a blind eye, or they give the child back to the father, like in Harmony Montgomery's case, where the judge knew Adam Montgomery had a rap sheet as long as his arm, but yet gave him custody of a little girl that he hardly knew, quite frankly. And look what happened there. You know, we have those cases where we can look back and we can say, well, that's the judge's fault. Or we can look at cases, there's been quite a few that come through the UK where social services have been involved and they haven't acted quickly enough. And the child ends up being tortured to death or dies of starvation or something horrific. But in cases like this, where multiple family members are killed completely out of the blue, I don't know that there is ever going to be a way to predict this. And that is absolutely terrifying. And I think that's why I'm so interested in it as a, you know, from a psychological point of view, I'm interested in it. Because there's got to be something, there's got to be some common thread. And yeah, there are common threads. But those common threads can't be predicted. And that's really sad. Anyway, that's all I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to get this case out, just in case you hadn't heard of it.
It was the aliens.
And let's follow this case to its conclusion. Let's follow this case to its conclusion, but hopefully it will go through court and he will be given the death penalty. I don't think there should be any leniency for pleading guilty in this case at all. Yeah, Kyle, did you hear him? It's the aliens. Did you hear him? In the background. So sad. So sad. So I don't know these little boys' names. You know, I want to know their names so we can talk about them as individuals rather than the boys or the victims. Let's give them names. So hopefully the names come out. I'm sure the names will come out. All right, guys. So thank you for being respectful, and yet another hideous, horrible case of filicide. I'll see you very soon. I think I only have one donation, so thank you so much for that. And I will speak to you very soon. And thank you to the mods if I had any mods in. I don't know if I had any mods in, but we didn't need mods. You were all great. So enjoy the rest of your day or evening or whatever. And happy Father's Day to all of you good daddies out there. Bye, guys.